rolling. All right, it's Super Centex After Dark with the Trib Friday Night crew. Chad Conine is somewhere on the road. He's making his way to West Texas for the Texas Tech game tomorrow. Brian Coates was at a game tonight, but the next time Brian's on the After Dark will be the first time. He does want to come on it at some point, but
We got to make that
um,
happen.
yeah. Well, let's run through it real quick. Zach, you were out in Kalachi country
Mm.
for the Bulldogs and the Trojans, McGregor and West. How was your game?
Yeah, West won 45-21. It was really pretty good, honestly. Um, McGregor, the first drive of the game, it looked like McGregor was gonna like it was gonna be a game because McGregor they completed a 48-yard pass. It was kind of a short pass over the middle. He broke a bunch of tackles, and then one play later, Bubba Zacharias is in the end zone, and it looked like all right, we're gonna have a high scoring, all these things, and then West just kind of took over. Defense really
I've
bowed
got
up.
your high scoring game. We'll get to my game, but I've got your high scoring
I
game.
said it looked like it was going to be a high scoring
I
game. It
know.
looked like it was.
It,
Uh, but dub-crain, this was really the dub-crain show. He scored 5 total touchdowns. He had 248 yards of total offense, two passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, and he just kind of like willed West to this win. I mean, coach was saying after the game, he preached all week, take what they're giving him, and they were giving him the quarterback run, and he was just taking it and just like I felt like I was watching a Baylor game because they were short calling the short screens and some quarterback runs, and they really got their run game going. And yeah, so this was a West domination. Other than maybe the first drive, it was a West domination. So lots to like for West. I think McGregor's offense, Bubba Zacharias is a pretty good quarterback. He's got some weapons there, but if I'm West, this is a step in the right direction, and they look like they're trending in the right direction.
I'll say one thing about that real quick, Bryce. That's a nice bounce back for dub-crain. I don't know how he looked last week. I didn't check on West, but in week one, he kind of struggled against Robinson, and particularly that front seven. He looked a little overwhelmed by it. So this is a nice bounce back for him. And on McGregor's side of things, their offense has been kind of the story of the season. They've been in a lot of shootouts so far. It seems like they're just struggling to get some stops.
mm.
I mean, and I
uh,
think West had I'm doing quick math here, little over like 250 yards on the ground altogether, and so that they I think they were all happy to get their running game going, and they used it.
nice. Well, good win for the Trojans, who I think play Hillsboro next week.
Mhm.
West and Hillsboro, nice little rivalry there. Former district rivals from years back, but now in different classifications. But all right, well, let's move on to, we'll get to Michael, but let's go to DJ, who's coming to us also from Kalachi country. Bucky's. They have good kolaches too, and many other things.
Every time I've been to Bucky's in the past, like, I'm gonna say 6 months, I have not been able to get kolaches here. And I have no
Yeah,
idea if they have
it
like the
has to.
timer
It
on them.
has to be a certain time. I think it's in the morning, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, it was an intense game with the other Trojans, the Troy Trojans, who were playing their also former rivals, Roger Eagles, and it did not end great for them.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
It was an injury, right?
there was a major injury. It was at the toward the end of the game, so it kind of sucked the momentum out of everybody. And sophomore Bryson Williams, wide receiver, DB, you know, um, I talked to Coach Brush here. He said that he was aware and responsive, and could feel everything. It was just that he had some tingling in the back of his neck,
Mm.
and they didn't want to like move him. And so it was mostly because he had to get carted off the field, and he was down for quite a while. It was
You
they
never want to see that.
no, it was during an interception, so it was actually Troy losing the ball. Um, and then that kind of gave Rogers the opportunity to kind of close the door and everything. They're they're full of seniors and juniors, but they're still pretty green. They lost a cannonball arm in Joseph McMurtry, and even though they have some veterans, and Hunter Fryman, who's their junior quarterback, who's their first year varsity guy, had some moments like he put them on the board with a 19-yard pass to Cohen Ketchum, but that was Ketchum's only catch of the night. It really was about the ground game. Jaden Lucky kind of carried the offense quite a bit. And then they just shot themselves in the foot. There was a lot of, because they came back. They Rogers had a 20-0 run in the second quarter to take the lead into the half, right? And they really came back to start the third with back-to-back, like just some quick drives, right? Like they had maybe like a total of 7 plays in the first half of the third quarter to tie the game. And then things just got like they got a little intense and nasty. There was some personal fouls, a lot of shoving and kind of just like getting in each other's faces with, the Eagles. And I think, it's definitely better to have these kinds of games early in the season, non-district, and kind of just get that sort of energy out of the way. But yeah, it was just not a good night for the Trojans, and they got some things to clean up, some inconsistencies they gotta shake off, and hopefully they got 2 weeks before they face off against Franklin. So we'll see.
Good luck with that. We'll talk about Franklin in a bit, but always good to have DJ back with us. Michael, so at one point I announced the University China Spring score in the press box there to some of the Lorena guys, and clearly one guy didn't actually know how much progress University has made over the last few years. He was like, whoa, like when did University get that good? I was like, man, they've got a couple Baylor commits, like this is no joke of a team, but looked like University handled China pretty well tonight, right?
Yes. So the Trojans of West looked good for Zach. The Trojans of Troy did not look so good in DJ's game. Well, these Trojans at University really poured it on, and they opened up a 42-7 lead at one point. I mean, it was just an absolute manhandling, and they kind of had like a fairly shaky first half. It's kind of one of those deals. I mean, DJ, you would certainly remember this. A lot of shooting themselves in the foot, penalties. They scored a 4-yard touchdown that got called back for holding and then got called back further because of a celebration in the end zone, like just stupid stuff, like, so some of that kind of percolated there in the first half, but they washed it all off. They came out in the second half, really leaned on the run game and just kind of took over. And I'll tell you, as good as University's offense is, I mean, there's so many weapons. Savoy Nichols threw to like 7 different guys. London Smith didn't even have to play in the second half because they were just like, they're loaded with even their running backs after losing JD Bell and Ladarius Evans. They're still good. They've got Ray Brown Jr. and Darius Thomas, who are really good. But I'll tell you what really stole the show was the defense for University. I mean, we previewed that going into the year. I mean, we knew that they have guys like, Devontre Kirkland, who's a Baylor commit, and Jeremiah Green, who's a really good safety, and Ronald Derrick III, I think is his name. He's an Arizona State commit. They've got some dudes on that defense, and they fly around. Like, I'm not kidding. Sideline to sideline, they just completely suffocated the field. And we know Krishan Gregory, he's a good running back for China Spring. And
big time playmaker.
He was able to break free, like on the first drive, he had 42 rushing yards, and then they kind of bottled him up. And he got loose a little bit in the second half, like kind of when it was already over. But I'd say for the most part, they really, homed in on that China Spring offense. And it was just, quite frankly, they were just outmatched, China Spring was. University just completely overwhelmed them with speed and athleticism. That was kind of the story of the game.
So I have a question for the three of y'all. Have any of you ever covered Franklin before? Have you seen Franklin in a game?
No, but I know they run an old school wing tee offense, right?
I think I watched them play China Spring. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. And it definitely went to the Lorena game, one of the Lorena games.
Okay, so DJ's at least seen them. And yes, Michael, that's what I was leaning toward. They run a slot T, have since the dawn of time. Franklin attempted one pass tonight, did not complete that pass, did not matter. I'm gonna drop some numbers on y'all. I guys, I saw a 6-man football game tonight with 22 players on the field. Here's what Franklin did: 675 yards rushing, wow. 9 touchdowns, 7 different players had touchdown runs for Franklin. Just ridiculous. The efficiency with which they run that offense, the power up front, and then they've got speed. My lead to my story when I finish it is, the perception of the slot T is that it's methodical, maybe plotting. Well, in the hands of Franklin, it's very explosive too. I mean, they've got speed as well. Obviously lost to China Spring 2 weeks ago, but had 2 weeks to prepare for this game and just did whatever they want. Lorena didn't get a stop till the second half. Now, regarding the Leopards, they have like 7 guys out on defense, so that was not ideal. But they scored 49 points tonight. I'll give you some numbers on them. Jackson Blancett for Lorena, their quarterback, 381 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Carson Miller, his top receiver, 11 catches, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then, oh, by the way, Brody DeLeon, their running back, kind of started out slow, but ends up with 14 carries for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns. He scored touchdowns on the last 3 carries he had of the game, including a 75-yarder. So, yeah, Lorena, they just, once Franklin got up 2 touchdowns, Lorena could never get it, could never climb that gap, They, like I said, they did get a stop in a 4th down stop in the second half, and you thought, okay, maybe, but Lorena had a couple of turnovers in the game, and that didn't help, and they just could not slow down Franklin. I mean, Franklin, I don't care about the loss to China Spring. It was these are 2 4A teams that Franklin's playing, even though, you can argue that with Lorena, they're down below the 4A line right now with their numbers, but they're still a 4A team. And Franklin, yeah, they're going to be a team that probably plays deep into December. But do not sleep on Kevin Johnson's Lorena team. It's a really, really competitive district, and that's going to be a lot of fun when we get to district play with China and La Vega and Gatesville and Conley and Robinson and Lorena. Yeah.
I still don't know who's going to finish in the top.
Sign me up, man. Sign me up for that.
Hey, I don't mind driving out to
Gatesville. Come up to Waco.
Every week.
Some of those games.
Did we ever get like a food pick from Brian? I was like, where's the food pick?
Yes,
did he get a spread? I tweeted
so when
at him.
I sent him a list of about 5 or 6 games to cover, and he goes, "Is there any doubt? I'm going to Gatesville."
Yeah, I mean, but I was like, can we at least?
So yes, we should have gotten a food.
Come on, Coates.
We should have gotten a big plate. Real quick before we go, I'll mention Midway again. I saw them last night. Very explosive. They had like 5 touchdowns of over 50 yards in that game. And Leander Rouse is good, man. They are good.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Josh Mann. That's my guy.
They are good. And
yeah, they're good.
Midway just kind of did whatever it wanted. I mean, it was a little like this Franklin Lorena game, high scoring, but yeah, Midway's just very explosive, and they did that without Jaden Fields Vaughn, the sophomore, who's, we've talked about a little bit about, he's very exciting, but he was out with a bone bruise, hoping to have him back next week when Midway finally plays a home game, 4 games into the season.
Do you want me to
Any
mention
other?
Chad's game real quick? Just real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. What
So,
did Chad have to
obviously,
say?
so obviously Chad can't be here. He's on the road. He said by the time this podcast is live, he should be in Iredell. But
Iredell.
Iredell, sorry. Um, so that game we kind of mentioned was maybe low key, like the game of the week in terms
He
of
was at
just,
Hamilton Crawford, by
yes,
the
sorry,
way.
yes, yeah. Hamilton Crawford. And it certainly lived up to that. And it was low scoring. It was 14-12. Crawford ended up pulling it out,
Just like
which,
he predicted.
yes, which if you think about it, that snaps a 15 game regular season winning streak. I think that's
Mm.
right for
Yeah, for
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah.
So that's a big deal. And, obviously don't count them out. They're still going to be really good. That's a tough, I mean, clearly Crawford is really good this year too.
Yeah.
He mentioned Cade Carroll was pretty much everywhere in that game. He said, I mean, literally, he scored twice. He kicked decisive extra points, nearly intercepted a pass, and recovered a blocked punt, I think. I mean, it was crazy. Like he had just an unbelievable game. And then Carroll and Chad Kelsey came up with a huge stop on Hamilton's final drive to seal the win. Crawford didn't score in the second half,
It's a
but
good year for football players named Kelsey.
I mean, golly,
We
yeah, no
got a
kidding.
royal wedding coming, don't we?
But yeah, I mean, so Crawford didn't need to score in the second half. Defense shut him out and held on for that's a big win for Crawford. They're 3-0.
No doubt, no doubt. That's that could be a story there for you, Michael. The return of the Crawford Pirates
Under new head coach Ty Robinson.
Yeah, with Coach Ty Robinson doing a good job there. Just a couple others that I'll mention. This one was a punch in the gut because I thought I had it on you guys.
I know what you're going with. I know where you're about to go.
Waco High.
Yep.
The Lions were winning like 20-9.
They were up, yeah.
At halftime, I think. End up losing to Cleburne. Ouch, man. I picked Waco High. Ezram's, that's steps, though. It's baby steps for Waco High.
They're getting there.
Yeah, but man, tough when you're winning by that much. You would like to close it out. Were there any other scores that jumped out to y'all?
I mean, we talked about the Gatesville game. They had a nice win over Mejia. I didn't see any others that jumped off the page.
As we talked about, and we ended up all the three of us that picked, Chad, Michael, and I, did end up going with Chilton.
They walloped Marlin.
Yes, they handled Marlin just fine. So Chilton, it looks like they're back. Shout out to the Bosqueville Bulldogs who get to 3-0. Yeah, so more to break down next week on the Super Centex pod, but I'm going to let y'all hit it. And, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
One thing.
Yes.
I have one thing. I was looking at your all name team.
Mm-hmm.
And Rogers has a kid on their roster whose last name is Fox, but it's spelled Fuchs.
So in Brenham, Texas, we used to have a number of those, that name, Fuchs. And yes, it was always pronounced Fox. But I know what you're thinking. Like, how could it not be the other thing?
I don't know. I could not hold it in the entire night every time because he had a lot of carries tonight. Yeah.
Well, here on the After Dark, it can get a little dark. And the name that I did not mention on our podcast the other day, because that one's a family friendly podcast. Michael knows exactly where I'm going because I texted him. This is an all-timer, and this is how we're going to end this podcast. The Midway Panthers, back maybe 15, 18 years ago, used to have a running back named, I kid you not, BJ Head. And there you go. See y'all. Peace out.